Well, good evening, everybody. As you might know, today I've got an exclusive footage to show you. The British people will not be cowed by acts of intimidation by the far left on our streets. Can you understand why people might think this is inappropriate, given that there was a terrorist attack 2 days ago and this is a proscribed terrorist organisation?
However,
Israel is committing genocide.
But there was a terrorist attack in Manchester.
Israel is committing genocide.
A terrorist attack
Israel is committing genocide.
There was a terrorist attack in Manchester.
Israel is committing genocide.
Do you understand
there is a live genocide.
Do you understand
there
why?
There is a live genocide.
Do you understand why people might...
Will not allow you to.
Well, it's free speech in this country.
Do you
not like free speech?
Far right, that's all you do.
Why am I far right? What makes me far right?
I know you're far right.
What makes me far right?
No, you're far right.
You're going to call someone far right.
Darling, you're far right.
Why am I far right?
You're not even a journalist.
Why am I far
You're
right?
not even a journalist. You're a failure to journalism. Darling, I could be a better journalist than you, okay?
Well, what makes me far right then?
I don't need to prove it because you know it.
Tell me what does
Because
far
you get
right
paid,
mean?
darling.
What
You
does
get
far
paid
right
by
mean?
the rich
What
man
does
to
far
be.
right mean? Can you define far right?
I don't need to
Can you
define
define
something
far
to you.
right?
I don't
No?
need to define it to you.
Okay, they are literally having to drag them. I can't get a good view of them here, but there's a lot of police to make one arrest. It's a lot of police to arrest one person, isn't it? I'm not going to be cowed by some intimidatory acts by the far left, and neither is it going to stop me from doing my job. And if they think their comments get under my skin, trust me, I've had far, far worse than that thrown at me before, as many of you at home probably have seen on this channel. And the whole reason GBNews goes to these protests is to hear from real people, no matter their politics. This is what fearless journalism is all about. Holocaust survivor says, stop the genocide in Gaza. Why have you been compelled to come here today?
I've been compelled to come here today because what I see the Israeli regime is doing in Gaza has horrifying echoes of elements of what happened to my family and millions of others during the Holocaust. And I think as somebody of Jewish descent, I find it profoundly dangerous and a profound lie to equate supporting the people of Palestine and opposing a genocide with being anti-Semitic. It's the absolute opposite. And I think that it's incredibly important to make that clear. And by standing against the genocide in Gaza, that is no way that is supporting racist attacks and murders in this country. It's the same fight.
These people are here opposing genocide, telling us that protesting against genocide is a bad thing. What happened a few days ago is a horrible thing. What's happening in Palestine is also a horrible thing. I feel like trying to put those two together and saying these people shouldn't be out here having this say about genocide.
On the night of the terror attack, though, where march is still going ahead, do you think there should have been at least a break in the protests in order to let people breathe a little bit?
Well, my understanding was those particular protests were for the flotilla that was trying to deliver peaceful aid to Gaza. So again, I feel like those people had a right to go out there and say what was happening at that flotilla was against international law.
And these people who are sitting here, not like you noisy guy, they're sitting there in silence, holding placards,
Yes.
and they are being arrested by the police and charged as terrorists. Now, do they look like terrorists to you?
I'm not that bothered about the Israel-Palestine issue. I think both are just as bad as each other, to be honest. But I'm here because I don't think Palestine Action are a terrorist organisation. And I'm appalled that the police are here arresting peaceful protesters when they could be out actually protecting the public from real crime. Incredibly disappointed with the Home Secretary. She's a hypocrite. She's been out on protests like this and is now ordering the police to go and arrest people in wheelchairs and arrest people just for holding a sign.
The government has said that it's recognised Palestine as a state. It's doing everything it says in its power to stop that. What would you like to see happen?
Our government is still supplying armaments to Israel to carry out genocide. It's flying spy missions over Gaza and providing their military with information. It is actively supporting what is going on over there.
Okay.
So I just think it's just a sort of bit of whitewash saying, oh yeah, but the kind of state of Palestine they want is one where the Palestinians won't have any say in what happens to them. It's going to be a sort of neo-colonial thing.
What do you make of Tony Blair? What do you make of Tony Blair being put in charge?
It's terrible, of all people, to be allowed anywhere near them. I think, haven't they suffered enough?
Excuse me, would you be willing to tell me why you're here today?
This is my message. I'm just the messenger.
And it says, on the road to tyranny in Starmer's Britain, which prosecutes those who peacefully protest at the mass slaughter of maiming of Palestinians, their children and babies, prescription by a war crimes complicit government. Do you think the Prime Minister's done a good job protecting free speech in Britain?
I'd rather confine my message to this, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Thank you for looking at it.
No problem at all. That's what we're here to do. Thank you. Indeed. Well, there were concerned British people there who didn't think these protests should be going ahead, and we heard from them too.
Protesting, because I'm assuming you're counter-protesting.
No, I'm not even counter-protesting. I've just come down here because I knew all these would be here, and as a mark of respect, they should have cancelled all this. They should have cancelled it, but I know they wouldn't cancel it. So I just thought I'll come here and add my 2 pence in.
I've just come round just to get a little bit of footage and see what's going on, but this shouldn't be happening today.
Yeah, there's many people saying that this is an anti-Semitic march, that actually they shouldn't be here after what happened on Thursday with the Manchester terror attack. What do you make of that?
Well, there's a time and a place for it, isn't there? You know? I mean, there's a couple of people here, like anti-demonstrators that I've been talking to there. They're showing their, you know, this... I've just come here just to have a look, because I only live about 3 miles away. Yeah. And I just think it's wrong. I just think it's wrong.
Do you think these are anti-Semitic, these marches?
I do, yeah. Yeah. I do. And especially today, it's after what's happened a few days ago, it shouldn't be happening. Yeah. It shouldn't be happening. There should be a bit of sensitivity.
Do you think the Home Secretary's been strong enough on this issue? She, of course, said to people to not come to the protest here. Many people have pushed back on that. Of course, hundreds of people here today counter-protesting that. There's other Palestine protest rallies going on.
It just shows how weak the government are. It really does show how weak this government is. If they want to ban this march, they could quite easily. If they wanted to stop it, they could.
Do you think it should have been banned this weekend?
Yeah. Well, not banned, just out of respect, cancelled. Cancelled, just out of respect.
I've come here to laugh at this nonsense, to be honest. Yeah. I mean, they've just got no arguments.
Yeah. And do you feel that people should be allowed to come and have these sorts of debates? Of course, the police are arresting people. What do you make of those arrests?
Well, they're breaking the law, so they're going to get arrested.
If it's not legal, then it's wrong.
You think by mocking people you make a strong argument?
That's all you guys deserve.
Yeah, there's nothing else I can say, really.
No. What do you make of the Home Secretary and others who said people shouldn't come to these events given the terror attack that happened a couple of days ago? What do you make of those comments from the Home Secretary?
I mean, given that some of them are here deliberately breaking the law, they should have probably banned it.
Don't break the law. Don't break the law, guys. Break the law.
Thank you very much for talking to us. Appreciate it. Thank you. I think some of those people summarise my experience at the Palestine Action protest today. But after the protest at Trafalgar Square was dispersed, it appears many continued unplanned into Whitehall. Well, there you have it. That was my experience today at Palestine Action. And I'll start with, I've got my fantastic panel here. Paul Richards, former Labour Party advisor, journalist and broadcaster. Linda Jubilee and former Met Police detective Peter Blexley. Paul, I'll start with you. Massive condemnation of the government there today, of course, and of Keir Starmer. It seems to me that they're not really pleasing anyone with the action they're taking on this. They're not outright banning these hate marches, which I think they are hate marches. They're also not doing enough to appease the Palestinian Action group and the people for pro-Gaza. So what's the government's plan here?
Well, the big answer to that is we're supporting the peace process internationally, and we're looking at the peace deal that's on the table, which is why I would question people's motives for turning up today, because we're on the brink of a deal that may give a real sense of hope to that region after decades, getting the hostages home, which is the most important thing, and securing some sort of lasting peace, alongside maybe the prospect of a Palestinian state, which is what all of these people have been demanding for so long. But the people on this demo, let's be absolutely clear, they have gone along there deliberately in the face of people pleading them not to from across the community. They could support the other Palestinian organisations, but they don't. They've decided to support one that's been proscribed. They want to get arrested. They applaud each other when they are being arrested and carted off. It's performative, it's narcissistic, and it doesn't help the Palestinians one jot.
Yeah, Linda, what your thoughts after watching that footage too?
Well, I mean, I'm going to repeat something I said earlier, that really all these people should have been showing respect to those who have been who suffered terribly over recent days. It would have been a sign of respect, but also it would have been such a dignified thing to do if they had spontaneously decided not to go on these demonstrations. But I wonder whether I'm alone in thinking that people here are heartily fed up with all of these imported conflicts coming onto our streets every single week. I mean, Peter can tell us more about this, but I gather the police are becoming exhausted with these weekly missions in trying to actually contain these situations, make sure there's no inflammatory outbursts, and make these hundreds and hundreds of arrests that they have to process so thoroughly. It's a ridiculous waste of time and money.
You are not alone.
So
Trust me, Linda, you are not alone in feeling that way. I have been saying that for a very long time.
It's costing the city millions. It's costing London millions.
Police that should be going to solve crime in our city, and of course they're there having to arrest those spoilt brats who think it's more appropriate for them to sit down because they think it's some sort of form of protest when it realistically isn't. Peter, I obviously want to come to you and talk about this entire event because these are now, as Linda highlighted, going on all the time. The disgusting ones that happened on Thursday, I think, were the worst people who would do that. Really terrible people. How much, in your experience, would this really take up police resources?
It's huge. The numbers of officers required. We've seen them when it's 5 minimum to carry someone away, and then they cordon those officers if they think there's going to be some effort to try and rip that person from lawful custody. In other words, try and snatch them away from the police. So this week, the Prime Minister, the Home Secretary and the Commissioner of the Met and people like Robert Jenrick all asked for this protest to not go ahead because they wanted those additional police resources to be protecting synagogues, for example, and other places of worship. That was the plan. A mate of mine messaged me just after 7 o'clock tonight. He said his synagogue had no protection whatsoever, and that was in Barnet. So, quite possibly, the officers that the Met hoped to deploy were not deployed because they had to be in Trafalgar Square to deal with those cretins. Palestine Action has been proscribed since the 5th of July. They all know it. And I think thus far the Met are dealing with these protests commendably.
I'd actually agree with you. I think they've done. I mean, seeing them operate today was a work of art. Actually, the way they moved, the way they spotted people that were genuinely holding up pro-Palestine Action signs. But I just want to ask you, because the Home Secretary, and I was just sort of saying this to Paul, not pleasing anybody here, not pleasing the people who want these hate marches to end, not pleasing the pro-Gaza group who, of course, want, I don't know, for the government to go to war with Israel, perhaps, or to end armaments to Israel, or to do something more radical. Is the Home Secretary just being utterly weak on this?
But we have to remember the importance of the right to protest.
Absolutely agree.
We've got to remember that is one of the jewels in our constitutional crown, so to speak. So just because we don't like the people who are protesting is not necessarily a reason to ban it. Just because we don't sympathise with their cause is not a reason to ban it. It would require different legislation, because legislation as to protest marches and legislation for static protests are actually different.
But on marches, Peter, surely we can start saying, well, OK, you can go on your demo, but you don't have to block off Whitehall, Westminster Bridge, Trafalgar Square, the places where people want, you go to Hyde Park or go to go to Kennington Park. Why does it have to go through the centre of London
They're the conditions.
and bring the city to a halt?
Invariably, those conditions are laid down by the Met and they're agreed with the organisers. Right. That, in essence, is what happens.
I also want to say that this is all these protests have become very regimented. They happen every single week.
It's a day out, isn't it?
Everyone has a day out. Everyone protests. So many of those people actually are badly informed about the political situation in the Middle East anyway. Certainly that woman that was going on about neo-colonialism was way wide of the mark. But what really distresses me sometimes is, as a society, we are facing profound and wide-reaching problems that will affect my children and my children's children, and all the time we're wasting time and resources and money on this. We are not addressing those problems.
And if those elderly people with the placards are sitting on the ground in January and February at those kind of protests, there's going to be a swift outbreak of hemorrhoids, let me tell you.